Buying a business? The numbers might look great, but what if I told you that some of the biggest deal killers are the things you don't see on the surface? Today, we're breaking down 5 red flags that buyers routinely overlook and how to spot them before it's too late. If you're looking to buy a business, stay tuned because these insights could save you from a bad deal. Before we dive in, do me a favor. Hit the like button and subscribe if you want more M&A insights. Now let's get started. First up, fake profitability. On paper, the business looks great, high EBITDA, solid revenue, but then you start looking at adbacks. Sellers love adbacks, these so-called one-time expenses that magically disappear post-sale. But here's the problem. Are they actually one-time expenses? Let me give you an example. The seller says they took a $50,000 marketing expense off the books because it was unnecessary. But when you dig deeper, you find out the business relies on paid ads for 60% of its customer acquisition. That's not a one-time expense. That's a critical cost of doing business. How to avoid it? Verify every ad back by asking for supporting documents. Compare costs to industry benchmarks. If an expense is too low, it might be underreported. Ask, would I need to keep paying for this to run the business effectively? If yes, it's not an ad back. Next up, key person risk. This is one of the biggest killers of small business acquisitions. Ask yourself this: if the seller walked away today, would the business still run smoothly? Or do they have all the relationships, all the operational knowledge, and the only connection to key suppliers or customers? I once saw a deal where the seller had 80% of their revenue tied to 2 clients, and the seller had personal relationships with both CEOs. Guess what happened when the seller left? Within 6 months, both clients pulled their contracts. The new owner lost 80% of their revenue overnight. How to avoid it? Ask for customer and supplier concentration reports. Check if key contracts are tied to the owner or the business. Push for a longer transition period in the purchase agreement. The third red flag is customer churn. A business might have strong revenue today, but is it keeping customers? Or are customers leaving just as fast as new ones come in? A business making $5 million in revenue with 40% churn isn't actually a $5 million business. It's a leaky bucket. How to avoid it? Ask for monthly revenue retention reports. Look at customer lifetime value and churn rates. If the seller can't provide this data, that's a red flag in itself. Buying into a shrinking industry is a long-term risk. You might think you're getting a great deal, but if an industry is in decline, your investment could become a sinking ship. Think about it. Brick-and-mortar DVD rental stores in 2010. Print directories after Google search exploded. Retail chains that failed to adapt to e-commerce. Cheap isn't always good. Sometimes it's cheap for a reason. How to avoid it? Research macro trends and market data before making an offer. Talk to customers and competitors. Is this business still competitive? Don't just focus on past performance. Look at the future. The last red flag? A deal that banks won't finance. SBA lenders and banks aren't emotional. They look at the hard numbers. If banks won't finance the deal, you need to ask why. Is the debt to EBITDA ratio too high? Are the financials too messy to verify cash flow? Is the business overly reliant on the owner or losing key customers? How to avoid it? Talk to a lender before making an offer. Structure the deal with seller financing to lower risk. If financing is impossible, ask yourself, is this a smart deal or just a risky one? So there you have it, the 5 biggest red flags that can turn a great-looking deal into a disaster. Fake profitability, key person risk, high customer churn, unstable industry, bankable deal. Remember, the best business isn't just one that looks good today, it's one that will keep working under new ownership. Now I want to hear from you. What's the biggest red flag you've seen in a deal? Drop your insights in the comments below. If you found this helpful, like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more M&A insights. See you in the next video.